This month, I've made over $24,500 from one insanely simple strategy. In this video, I'm gonna break down the entire trading strategy for you from start to finish. So that way you can copy the exact strategy that I use to make over $13,000 per week as a trader and over $24,000 on the month. Now, as always, to make this extremely easy for you to understand, what I'm gonna do is throw a 15-minute timer on the screen. So I'm not gonna take longer than 15 minutes to explain this entire trading strategy for you. So let's get started. All right, the first thing that we have to understand when it comes to my trading strategy is I am a price action based trader. So this strategy is called the trend fail continuation system, or the TFC strategy. I've traded it every single day, and all of my YouTube videos literally go over this exact price action concept. And so by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly how to take trades from start to finish using this TFC system, and it has changed a lot of lives, just like you're seeing on the screen from all of my mentorship students. So let's do this. First things first that we have to understand is I'm a trend-based trader, all right? I am not taking trades if we are in the middle of, let's say, some kind of range, some kind of chop. So for example, in these areas, I'm not looking to take trades. It makes absolutely no sense for me because at the end of the day, when I'm looking to capitalize on a trade, I want to see large moves, right? My moves are always going to be extremely large whenever I'm able to capitalize on them. And so I want to catch something along the lines of this, right? And this ends up being a 247 point position. So if I can capture something like this makes my life a lot better than when having to sit here and sit within this chop. So what I'm teaching you to do in this video is going to be to catch these massive moves. And the way to do so is the first thing we have to do is go over the overall trend, right? If you don't know how to find trend, I have another video on that. It's going to pop up literally at the end of the video. I'll make sure to pop it up at the end. That way you can go straight to it and learn how to find trends specifically. But overall, guys, quickly, because I only have 15 minutes and we're already 13 minutes and 20 seconds. So very quickly, we want to see higher highs, higher lows, lower lows, right? Basic market structure. That's the very, very first step of understanding this trading strategy. And so remember, guys, if you don't understand market structure very well, there's one main thing that you can do, and it's going to be to take off all indicators and put on the 200 EMA. One main thing that I like to do is if we are above the 200 EMA with smooth trend and smooth, like actual price action, we are most likely in a bullish uptrend. If we are below with smooth action, remember, this doesn't really count as smooth action because we're not actually having a smooth trend below it. But for example, something like this, if we have smooth trend below it, I'm going to count that as a downside trend. Okay, so very, very simple. That's one of the easiest ways to find trend if you don't know how to use market structure. At the end of this video, I'm going to throw a full market structure video at the end, and it's going to be very, very good for you. So the first thing we have to understand in this is trend, right? Now that we have that, we need to know exactly when to have our entries. And so there's one main concept that we do to find these entries, and it's going to be in the TFC system. It's going to be a fail, right? We need to see a failure in price. And so what a failure in price looks like is essentially, let me change my colors to green and red for you guys, because I know that I have a couple of people who've complained about it in the past. So I'm going to make sure that this is cutting into my time big time, but it's okay. As you guys can see, when we take a look here, we have this massive move to the downside, right? I'm not going to find an overall like smooth trend just yet. I'll find it in a couple of seconds. But what we're looking for in terms of a failure is going to be something like this, where we have a massive push to the downside and then we have a failure in price action right here. This failure indicates that we are wanting to push to the downside or to the upside, right? Potentially. And so when we have that potential upside push, that's where I'm starting to look for a potential move to the downside, right? I want to see a failure and then a continuation. So inside the TFC system, we have our trend, right? We have our F, which is going to be our failure. And then all I'm doing to enter my position is going to be to wait for a low break in this scenario, wait for a low break, and then get in. So what I mean by that is if on this candle, and I'm going to do the thing that everybody hates right now and go replay, that way I can actually show you. I'm going to show a live example at the end, don't worry. But what we're looking for here is a break in this low, right? So on the failure, if we're able to see a break, that means that I'm looking to get in on this position. Very, very simple 1, 2, 3 pattern, right? And so the next candle comes down, and obviously it does not break the previous candle low. So what I'm looking for in this case is going to be a break in this previous candle low. And if we can get that, I am then in on this TFC position. And as you can see, this candle ends up breaking that. So this is where I will place my entry. Now, stop losses on this strategy will always go above the previous candle high or the previous candle low. Now, don't mess this up, because this is where a lot of people actually get this wrong. And I'm going to show you a couple examples in a second that a lot of people use that get that like completely mess them up overall when it comes to this strategy. So stop losses over the previous candle high in this scenario. Bullish is going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to show it to you in just a second. Also, we have 10 minutes remaining, so let's do this. So here you can see this position ends up going and going and going. I don't know how long. I'd probably set my targets down here. The question that I get a lot of times is, where am I going to set targets? How do I know where to set targets in this position? And that's not really the overall concept of what this strategy actually gives for us. But in terms of overall like targets for me, I like to just put stops, or I like to just put targets down to near lows and near highs, right? So as you can see, let's say that I were to take a position right here, for example, a TFC right here. You guys can see we already have trend established. We had to change a character here. We are now looking to push over. And you know what? Let's just break it down while we can, right? So we have ourselves our T, right? We know that we're looking to push to the upside in this place. What we're looking for now is going to be a failure. And so in this scenario, we have ourselves a nice move, nice move, nice move. And then we have a failure candle right here. This failure candle is where we're going to be looking for a potential move to the upside. If we can get a break over these highs, we are going to look for that massive move to the upside potentially. And so the next candle that comes up, as you can see, we get a break over these highs. This is my entry right here. Stop losses for me go below the previous candle low. And my targets, like I showed you guys before, we're going to look for highs, right? So we're going to look for potential highs, maybe right here or right here as final target, because this is the overall high that I'm looking for the most. Now, this is where my strategy can start to get a little bit different, and where people go, oh my God, your strategy is different every video. Well, remember, you can combine other things within this strategy. So for example, if we combine the fibs along with this, we can start to see where a target 1 is going to be, right? So take a look at this entry now. It becomes this entry with a target in between it. So now we know that we have this target up here, and we can take profit once we get up to this area, and then take full profit once we get up to these highs. So that's the overall concept of the TFC. Now, let's break down the TFC as smooth as we possibly can, because those were, kind of rough examples. I'm going to show you TFCs in a much, much smoother example in a second. And the way to do that is by finding smooth trend. So as you can see in, let's say, oh no, this is not going to help us whenever it comes to this strategy video, because we are on a very, very low amount of time. Okay, cool. Here we go. Easy. So let's break this down. We have smooth downside trend, as you guys can see. Let's say that we didn't know how to do that. Let's throw on an EMA. So we have smooth downside trend here. We know that we're liking the downside. This EMA does start to show downside only here, but I would start, literally classifying that over in this area. What we're looking for in this scenario then, since we already know that we're pushing to the downside, we want to see a failure and a continuation. Okay, so we have trend downside. Now what we're looking for, here we go, the thing that everybody hates, replay time. So as you can see, we already have this massive downside. Okay, so we have T. Okay, now the next thing that we need to see is going to be a failure, right? Very, very simple. This failure here is a TF. Now the next thing that needs to happen is we need to break the previous candle lows to continue lower. So if we get this break in lows, we should see lower, and that way we can enter our position. So let's go ahead and throw an entry here with a stop loss over the previous candle low. Targets down to areas of liquidity, which would be down in this area right here. Beautiful. This becomes a 1-to-1 risk reward position. Obviously, you can let the trade run from further than that if you wanted to. So the next candle comes out. We do not see a break in lows, right? So there's no entry there. Instead, we want to see a break in these lows. And the reason why, guys, is because I don't look for a close in the candle. I don't really care for the close in the candle, because what I'm looking for is a continuation, right? And so if you waited for a close on every single candle that you took, you would be limiting yourself so much in terms of your potential when it comes to your actual, trades. For example, on this candle here that ends up breaking structure, let's say that this candle closed all the way down here. Now look at what your risk to reward looks like, because you waited for a close, right? So instead, what I do is I wait for a break. And as you can see, we break this low here. Stop losses are going to go on the other side of this candle now, which this is a pretty decent stop, but that's just what it calls for in the strategy. If you wanted to, you could go a little bit lower, but it's just going to be up to you and how much risk you have. But in this scenario, we would just hold this trade. And as you can see, this ends up being a pretty decent one. Now, for my exit strategy, like I said, you can just put stops in terms of that liquidity area, or you can set your 9 EMA, which is what I do on pretty much every position I have. And I don't close it until we close on the other side of the 9 EMA. So in this scenario, I would exit somewhere around here and take partials along the way. So this ends up being a 3.2 to 1 risk to reward trade. And all we do is literally have the exact same strategy every single time. As you can see right here, we come down, we have ourselves our T, right? We already know that we're in downside trend. We have ourselves our F. It's the same thing every single time, guys. I kid you not. Like, I can't make this up. It works every time. Now, as you can see, boom, and we have our continuation. Now, here's the question. Can you do this every single TFC that you have? The answer is no, right? And so here's where a lot of people get confused when it comes to my channel, right? They see a bunch of different strategies and they're like, oh my God, you trade so many different systems. And it's like, no, I trade the TFC system and I have different things, different tools that help me have more A+ structure within my trade, right? And so for example, let's say that we have key levels here and let's say that we have VWAP. So right now I have EMA and VWAP on my screen. So with EMA and VWAP, you can find different TFC trades. For example, here we have ourselves a bullish trend, we have ourselves our failure and our continuation. We can take it off of the EMA. Cool, beautiful. We have a TFC trade taken off the EMA. Now, there's a couple different things that you can do, right? Let's say that on higher time frame, we have a fib. Boom. This is really, really nice because if we take a look at higher time frame fibs and then we go down to the 5-minute, take a look. I'm not making this up. This is actually literally happening live in front of you. This is so sick. So this is where the TFC strategy is not just TFC anymore. There's more things that encapsulate it as well. The fib strategy that I have on my channel as well, right, combines with the TFC strategy and becomes what I have as my SOA strategy, which is going to be fibs, EMAs, and a TFC system. Every single trade that I have is the exact same. As you can see here, we end up breaking lows. What we look for is a failure. And here you can see, let me take these off the screen for you guys. Here you can see we have our failure. What are we looking for now? Our continuation. When do we break these lows? And here you can see we break lows on this candle. Stop losses go over the fib in this case and over the previous candle high and over the EMA. That's 3 forms of confluences. So that makes this strategy extremely strong. And guys, if you don't know all of my strategies, go through my YouTube. It is so insanely strong. And if you are lacking on a strategy, or let's say that you have been trying ICT or trying different methods and they're all very confusing for you, it's better to just have one system that makes sense and is very clear. So this system is extremely clear. We have EMAs and we have fibs. And all we do is wait for price action to react to our levels every single day. And take a look. This comes straight down to the area that we wanted. And there we go. We have a perfect trade here. So every single trade I have looks like this. It has a TFC within it. It has one other form of confluence, which could be a key level or a VWAP or EMA. Those are the 2 things that I'm looking for the most on every single trade I take. Now, guys, this one is for the haters. I'm going to show you an actual live entry using the TFC system. So that way you can see exactly what it kind of looks like in real time. The reason why I like this trade so much is because we're getting that break to the upside. And then we are retesting this level with a lot of different tests to show that, hey, we might have strength to hold that level to the upside. And if we come up and break these highs, it shows a very clear TFC. You guys can see we haven't broken those highs, we haven't broken those highs, and we're just trying it over and over again. If we have enough strength to try that multiple times and it actually holds above these levels, I'm in for the upside. I think that's a very solid looking position. Okay, I'm filled in for upside. Beautiful wick. If this can flip green on us, this looks really solid for us to continue higher. We get the green flip. Let's see if this gives us the pressure to push over that high, and it does beautifully. A+ trade right here. And as you can see, guys, this is the exact same system that all of my students are using every single day. I mean, take a look. Trend, right? Failure, continuation, off of levels. It's the same thing every single day. And so I don't want you to think that it's confusing to have other confluences, because we have trading, just price action, yes, but we also have other things to confirm these strategies as well. And so take a look. Students are making $1,000 a day. Students are getting funded with over $50,000, making thousands of dollars, actually able to do the same thing every single day because we're trading trend, fail, continuation. It is the most simple strategy of all time. This led to a student making over, $18,000 in one day. Absolutely insane stuff. And so if you are wanting to learn this, I have 3 seconds left, but if you're wanting to learn this, guys, everything I do is going to be in the first link in the description. So if you want to work with me personally one-on-one, I've taken literally over 500 students from start to finish of not knowing what they're doing in the market, having no idea what's going on, to people like Evan, for example, taking a $5,000 payout and actually being able to trade for themselves for the rest of their lives. So if that's something that you want, and you want to finally break out of the idea of, all the ICT, all the complicated garbage, and you want to have a strategy that actually works and is very consistent and is not that difficult to understand, well, guys, I've taught a lot of people, and I'm opening up a couple of spots for you guys. So go to the first link in the description. It's going to say simplyoptionsacademy.com. All you have to do is put in an application. And if your application gets accepted, you will work with me directly one-on-one from start to finish. And we will do everything to scale you, just like the students that you're seeing right here on the screen. These students have put in a lot of work. So expect that if you're going to work with me, you're going to need to put in a lot of work and actually learn the strategy from start to finish. Okay. Every student, just like Kevin here, as you can see, TFC. It's the same thing every single position. So we are changing a lot of lives with this strategy. Now, like I said before, there is a video popping up on the screen right now going over market structure. This is if you don't kind of understand the first part of the TFC system, which is trend. This will teach you everything about market structure and everything about actually learning the first part of my strategy. Once you get this strategy down, it is game over. You will finally understand how to trade from start to finish. And I'm not going to say I guarantee it, because I don't think I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but it is so powerful. So with that being said, go watch that video. It's popping up on the screen right now, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, everybody. Goodbye. Subscribe.